when Imam Muhammad came in 1975, he had all these people and all these top leaders and everything like that. There was an individual came up to the Imam. He said, I'm going to help you with the organization of the community. And what he did, he brought a black constitution, really. The whole constitution. And this was his suggestion for how to establish the community. Imam Muhammad told him in so many words, hey, you guys don't even have a clue. Imam Muhammad came in by himself. By himself. The rest of us, we didn't know anything about Quran. I had the Quran on my shelf, and I used to read Quran and in English. And I couldn't understand it. I knew Bible. And Bible, you know, is a whole lot of symbolism. And really, if you look at it, we came, most of us, we came through the vision or point of view of white supremacy scriptural reading. That was our vision. That was our eyes. And then those of us who started hearing the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about who is the original man and talking about our history, that you have to have knowledge of self and you had to do for self. You know, here I was going to school as a history teacher. I was going to be a history teacher. I knew about Russian history. I knew about American history. I knew all types of history, Bolivian history. I didn't know anything about our own history. So when I came to the Temple of Islam, and they gave me a little book from J.A. Rogers. I learned more history in that little book from J.A. Rogers than I did in 4 years at the university. Allahu Akbar. So then I became a convert of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. And I tell you, all the sincere ones who are here, we probably all swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. The only one that got out of the box was Imam W.D. Muhammad. I taught Bible, and I taught Bible through the eyes and the point of view of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If I wanted to go teach at the Nation of Islam, I can come up with the scriptures and all that stuff. That's right. At last a rich man died. I think that was one of it. So we saw that point of view. But when I came in, it was in 1971. Now I'm on the subject. Muhammad, peace and blessing, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, is what Allah created all men to be. So when I came in 1975, and then like I said, we talked from the point of view of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when you came in, especially those who came in around maybe 71 or something like that, when you came in, they had all these big old problem books and the actual facts and everything else, and they used to try to pull you in the corner and say, well, hey, you guys, you only been here a short period of time. You're gonna be lucky if you get on the mothership. In fact, you probably a devil. And they put it on it that hey, because how many are supposed to be on the mothership? 144,000. And we came in later, like in the late early 70s. So it was pretty hard to figure that you're going to be in that 144,000 because you saw that mothership, and then as they loaded up and people started getting on the mothership, you saw that door closing on you. Allahu Akbar. And so when Imam, but what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, he taught us to learn the actual fact or to memorize everything you had. Memorization. Imam Muhammad gave a good definition of memory. He used the example. He said, "It was somebody." He asked a person a question, and the person, he couldn't remember it. And Imam Muhammad said, "Well, if you memorize it by heart, that means you love it. Where is it at?" It's on your heart. And so we love what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had given to us because we didn't have the knowledge of self. Many of us probably memorized the message of the black man and many of the center articles. But by you coming in late, you figured that you probably didn't have a chance. But when Imam Muhammad came in 1975, threw it all out. It was a time to be reborn, and everybody was on equal plane. So what do you think I did? I memorized the lectures of Imam W.D. Muhammad when he came in. Allahu Akbar. And so, that's what we I'm sorry. That's what we did. And Imam Muhammad, he said that he was going to teach us, and he told everybody to put away what they had. And then he mentioned that he was going to teach from Quran, and he said, in fact, if you have hadith, don't even bring them along. He said, once we get into the Quran and we know it well, then you'll be able to look at the hadith and say, this hadith is sound and this is weak. Allahu Akbar. So, and Imam Muhammad, he taught his students. All of us are students, and he taught his students from 1975 until 2008. We were all students of Imam W.D. Muhammad. And in the Holy Quran, under the chapter, I'm going to do this first. The chapter Al-Fatiha. I did a lecture on Al-Fatiha, it says. And this lecture is from the tafsir of Imam W.D. Muhammad. It starts out with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And the first two words, really. B, it means with. Then from Ismun means name. If I say Ismuka, it means what is your name. So B, they translate it in Arabic to mean in. Well, Imam Muhammad said, get rid of that translation. You should use either with or by. First was with. So he said with the name of God. Then he mentioned by. Why did he say by? He said, well, even by is good. He said, if you were going downtown Chicago and you would ask the person a question, how did you get to Chicago? By car. So by Allah. And so Imam Muhammad, before I go into Ar-Rahman further, Imam Muhammad, he had mentioned that one of the worst translation of the Quran, which one is that? Which one? Right. And guess who he said was the second worst? Yusuf Ali. He said it was the second worst. And what it was is that when these individuals, they were Islamic scholars, and then they probably went to a university or something and they learned English. And when they learned English, it was on a scholarly level. But they didn't, they didn't live in the English environment or what English people were. And so they translated as best they could. Some had good intentions, some was just ignorant. And so what happened is Imam Muhammad, he taught his students, he would take verses from the Quran and he would take it step by step. And he would say, this is what Yusuf Ali says. And he said, well, it's not quite right. In fact, it's not right at all. You should use this word. And he said, what it is, because these guys had that scholarly attitude, is that their translation lacked the spirit of the Quran. It lacked the spirit of the Quran. So he's saying with the English translation of the Quran, if you put it right, that English translation would have the spirit of the Quran. So here they were teaching Quran in Arabic. And the way they were translating is the way they were teaching it in Arabic. And so, for example, there's a verse where it says that not equal are the ones who sit at home and they are first to. They're not one to have the first harm. That's pretty much how it is. And Imam Muhammad, he said, that's not good, because when he said the harm, the way they're translated is like we're always at war. And when the translation that you hear of the Quran, it sounds like, you're battling the West and so forth and like that. And so Imam Muhammad, he changed that word, Gairu Ulul Darari. He translated it as the common inconveniences, or the common things. Those who sat at home and they would not even suffer the common thing, the things that they need to do in society. They wouldn't come out to clean up the masjid or help anybody in the community. They just sat at home. And the word used for sat at home is it's Ka Ein Del, and I don't think I had my notes. I don't have it here. And that word means to sit. And then, but out of that word is a word called Qawaid. Qawaid means foundation. And another translation, another use of Qawaid is rules of grammar. And in the Holy Quran it says that Prophet Abraham and Prophet Ishmael, they established the foundation, or they placed the foundation of the Kaaba. Allahu Akbar. So, again, okay, with the name of Allah, the merciful benefactor, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. And we look at the progression. Imam Muhammad, he was building the translation. We used to say in the books, I think they had the beneficent, the merciful. There was the beneficent, the compassionate. And we were using those. Then Imam Muhammad, he gave the translation of the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Why is that? Because the word Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim have the root word Ar-Rahimat, R-H-M. And if I'm not pronouncing the letters correctly, because sometimes it could be Rahimat, I mean not Rahimat, some of the verbs could be Fatha, 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 and so forth. So it's the merciful benefactor and the merciful redeemer. And why is that? Because in the Holy Quran it says that Allah will bestow upon you 2 portions of His mercy, a double portion of His mercy. And that, and in fact, in the Holy Quran it says Allah is Ar-Harmur Rahimin, the most merciful of the merciful. So the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. But it goes to the root word. It says, okay, and then it goes, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praises belong to God, Rabbil Alameen. The translation before was the Lord of all the world. And Imam changed that translation, but not changed it, added to it, extended it.